Okay. Meeting starts at 6 o'clock. Can I get a roll call?
Matthews.
Present.
McKinney.
Present.
Dean. Here. Schramm.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody get a chance to go over your June 3rd minutes? If so, can I get a motion to approve our June 3rd meeting minutes? Second? Can I get a second? One last time, can I get a motion to approve, a second motion to approve the June 3rd meeting minutes? Okay. Not that one. Fails for due to a second. Okay. June 11th meeting minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review your June 11th meeting minutes? If so, can I get a motion to approve the June 11th meeting minutes? Can I get a second on the June 11th meeting?
There's one issue on here. We've got, discussion on adding an authorized signer to all bank accounts. Motion made by McKinney, it was seconded by Matthews, all in favor, motion carried. But it does not say who we made the motion to add, on the notes, so that motion was for Schrum to be added. See what I'm saying?
On the, okay, the very, the third oath.
Yeah.
Okay, can we
Yes, it was.
get a motion with, the stipulation that Schrum is to be added to the discussion on adding authorized signer to all bank accounts from June 11th?
Yeah, I second that.
Okay. All right. The June 25th meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance to go over those? If so, can I get a motion to go over or to approve the June 25th meeting minutes? Anybody want to put a motion in?
Motion it.
I guess.
Since we just got them, I had to read them.
Well, we're
I
gonna,
do understand.
we're gonna put a cutoff on the time that I get this stuff, so you guys will be able to have it instead of,
Is there not a cutoff now? Cause I thought there was.
There's nothing in writing that I've been able to find.
Or we're gonna have to stop people coming in and adding things,
Yeah, that's on
you know,
farther down the
last minute, like on Mondays, we're gonna have to do, we got it on here.
Alright, new business. First up is Jesse Rupp to discuss recent sunshine requests.
I'm gonna pass on that until I receive the receipts.
Okay. Let's see.
Also, if the chief, is the chief here tonight?
He's in training this week.
Okay. I need to speak with him, make sure that's in during the open session. Some of the charges I just wanted to clarify on.
Okay, so you're requesting to be on next month?
Yeah, I am. If I receive all the receipts.
Okay. Alright. Next, we're going to Kathy Mangan is here to address the board on credit card statements.
As we are over budget, $42,000 is indicated. There have been some credit card statements that have been posted online for the viewing of anyone out in the public. I have questions concerning charges of the credit card that belongs to the city of Leadington for purchases that should be discussed and approved by the Board of Aldermen. My concern lies in what I am seeing place of purchase, and the reasoning. I would like to discuss the following information in hand, as I feel there is reckless spending within the city. I live in Forest Park Crossing, and we do not have trash pickup, street lights, and the roads in Leadington and at Leadington Plaza are full of potholes. I called numerous times to discuss these things, and I never get any return calls back. The first thing I would like to discuss as far as purchases, and I would just like to know if these have been approved, and if so, why? Because the statements that were posted, I would like to have knowledge as a Leadington citizen, why such purchases were made. On 10/26/2018, there was a purchase at LTAP of $102.84 for food. Was there a city event that took place that justified this purchase? Who was all present? And in the credit card policy, it says, which I have a copy of, it details such transactions are to be recorded and turned in with the receipt. Where can I get a copy of this receipt showing details of the city event? Do any board members recall approving this charge, and why was it approved? Because as I have asked, there was no city event, so I would like to know why $102.84 was spent at LTAP.
As far as the receipts on it go, we're digging through receipts as we've had quite a change in hands over the past year. We've had, I think, 4 different people in our office. We just found out some of those have been pushed to the outside that I myself was not aware of, our current clerk, so we're digging through receipts, I can get you what that is.
Is this a practice for the board to spend that amount of money of taxpayers' money on eating out?
Unless it's a meeting, then no.
Does anybody recall approving such meeting for LTAP? Okay.
What was that date?
I have on the paperwork, it was 10/26/2018. Then on December.
Who made the charge?
Pardon?
Who made the charge?
The charge was made.
It's on the next card.
When it?
It's on Saturday. No, Saturday.
On December 2nd, 2018, there was a charge for $6.99 for Amazon Free Time. That is a children's movie subscription. Another charge of $6.99 again on January 2nd, 2019. This was made to a card issued at Dustin McKinney. Were these charges approved by the Board of Aldermen?
No, we were not.
On February 12th, 2019, there is a fuel charge at ExxonMobil here in Leadington of $85.01. Then a charge of $125.84 at Red Lobster. This was in Jeff City. Later I found out that there was a meeting there. Then a charge for $205.36 at Doubletree Hotel in Jeff City for one night. I'm assuming since there is no hotel charge for the night of the 13th as it's listed on the statement, that you return from Jeff City on the 13th. Why would there be a charge again at ExxonMobil for Leadington for $65 on the 14th after return back from this trip? Obviously, from the charges I am viewing, it only took $65 in fuel for the round trip to Jeff City. Why charge the city again to refill the tank the day after returning? And for $125 at Red Lobster, who was present for such a meal?
Over the last 5 years, I have been to Jeff City every year I go. I've never bought, I think last year I bought one. I've always had it bought. This year, the people that I was with, which we go to training with, I bought.
Was that approved?
It was approved for us to go, and that covered our fuel. As far as the $65 when I returned, if I remember right, that's when our credit cards were shut down because of issues with our city clerk, and we were using, our fuel cards were shut down, and we were using credit cards, my city card, to fuel, you know, everything. So, I mean, yes, I filled up on the way up. I used my personal vehicle, went up. When I come back, that's when our cards, we've had that happen numerous, as a matter of fact, they're off right now. So we were using, I'm telling you how it is.
So you put $65 on the 14th in your personal vehicle, and not a city vehicle. It was your personal vehicle that on the 14th that gas was put in, the fuel was put in.
When I come back, it would have been in a city vehicle.
Okay. Who was the $125.84? So that was not approved by the board. That was just.
No, I was in Jeff City.
Okay. So the $205.36 is pretty steep for one night at the taxpayer's expense.
There's 2 hotels that we've stayed at every year.
Okay.
I don't remember.
This was for one night at Doubletree Hotel in Jeff City. That's what it says on the statement.
That is always set up by the city clerk.
Okay. So, is there a balance here as far as when you do go off to these meetings? Do you get a certain amount of money for food, hotel stay? You know, is there anything allotted that is agreed upon by the board and approved, so we don't have these charges of $125.84 at Red Lobster when our city is broke?
Well, that's a 2-side there. The board knows before I go, because it comes to the board before anybody goes to training, what the hotel is gonna cost, where they're at, what's going on. The issue of the city being broke is in the red, and it's in the budget that you can see. I don't know if you have a copy of, where the sales tax, utility tax, police department, everything's down. That's where our $42,000 in the majority of it comes out.
Okay. I'm just, these charges, $125 and the $205, that can go a long way on fixing the streets.
And
Yeah.
I agree.
So, there's a pothole over there in Leadington right now that could take out a car. So I'm just saying.
In the plaza?
Yes, sir.
And so
Right as you go into Hardee's, and I've called about it. And when you call here, no one answers the phones.
That's a personal business over there, that we don't maintain their parking lot.
What is the premium for you to get moved?
25.
So $25 is your per diem for a meal?
I've
Okay.
never been on a trip, so I don't know. I thought it was $25, Powers just confirmed it as that.
Okay. On April 18th, 2019, there is a charge to Battlefield Laser Tag for $76.59. On April 26, 2019, there's a charge of $67.77. What city event took place on 4/18 and 4/26 that would justify these charges, and were they approved by the Board of Aldermen? Was the board aware of the dinner / activities at Battlefield Laser Tag? And who was in attendance?
I can speak for that one, on the 418, I have not figured that out. I do not remember being there. On the last one, that is whenever myself, the chief, one of the firefighters, and my son cleaned up the city trash. I took the guys to lunch.
How many people, Dustin?
There was 4.
It has been brought to my attention on 418 that you were present at laser tag, and so was the wedding party of Mr. Dustin McKinney that 2 days prior to his wedding.
We may have been there, but I'm telling you, that was not on a city card.
Okay, well, there's a purchase on there you guys need to look at and clarify what's wrong, because there's a lot of stuff that's not being approved apparently. On 5/2/2019, ExxonMobil had a fuel charge of $100.01. What city vehicle held this fuel purchase? I was told by Miss Million when I talked to her yesterday that a city vehicle was in need of repair and Mr. Winnick had to use his own vehicle. Therefore, I would like to ask where the repair bill is for the vehicle that was down.
What?
I didn't say there was repair, I said the gas card was shut off.
No, you didn't say the gas card. You said that the city vehicle was down. He had to use his own personal vehicle.
No, I said he was filling up the city vehicles for them because we didn't have a gas card.
Not what was said.
Oh, I promise.
That's why I'm asking where the repair bill
Yeah,
was.
there's no
I wouldn't have
repair bill.
known
That
about
was-
any repair,
That's why I was asking where the repair bill
What was
was.
the date of that?
cause that was before I was.
The
even
date
here.
was on, May 2nd, 2019.
Did you come in and talk to her?
Called her and talked to her on the phone.
She called.
So in February, our cards were shut off.
Mhm.
That's news to me because I was not aware that our cards were shut off in February.
What would be the purpose of them being shut off?
I don't know, because we did pay the bills, and so I do not know.
And we didn't have the city card.
I don't know about May 2nd, the cards. I heard one time that our cards were shut off, but I don't know the dates. Powers may know. But I don't.
Curious to know which vehicle holds $100.
We had, it's when we were mowing and doing the citywide cleanup. I filled up gas jugs for the riding mowers.
Hold on there. This is May 2nd.
This is May 2nd.
Citywide cleanup was the 26th.
On May 2nd, the 101 was the city truck and the fuel jugs for the mowers. Because I've been taking care of the mowing and the weed eating and the street repairs when I can get to them and the snow plowing. So yes, I use my city card to fill up city vehicles because we haven't had anybody.
I've also noticed several $100s of Lowe's purchases the last 6 months. What was the purpose of these charges for Mr. Winnick and Mr. McKinney? And did the board approve these charges? On November 23rd, 2018, actually this one was under Debbie Matthews, the credit card, that's what it said on the state, for $314.76. On March 12th, under Mr. Winnick's, it was $178.52. On March 19th, 2019, under Mr. McKinney, it was $95.02. Are there receipts for these, and what was the purpose for the credit cards being used for?
I can tell you on mine, it was whenever I went and bought all the asphalt for fixing Woodlawn.
Okay.
So, like I said, we're digging through receipts. I'll get you a receipt as soon as I can, but that's exactly where my Lowe's charge come from, was for the bags of asphalt that fixed Woodlawn, Flat River Road. We had some potholes up here. That's what I was doing that day.
So nobody knows about their free.
The other one for Dustin on whatever date you just,
March 19th.
that's fire department.
Which
And the
was
one in
approved.
my name, I used that card 2 years ago when I went for a conference. That card had been there, I never touched it. They handed out and Eric used it when he went to, some kind of training. Yeah.
Well, as
I'm
a
going to-
citizen, that bothers me, because it's like a card's just laying there to be used by
No,
whoever.
it's locked up,
Well-
but they use it as a city card, but yes, I'm calling and getting that canceled because I don't want anything in my name. I thought it was after I went
Yeah.
to my, that training a couple years ago.
Have you viewed the statements, Ms. Massey, because a lot's being charged to that card that most likely should not be?
Well, like I said, they're using it for when they go to training, but yeah, I'll be in here on Monday and that card will be shut off.
I read the credit card use policy. It plainly says cell phones for service or purchase aren't allowed to be charged on the city credit card. Why isn't this policy being forwarded? Cricket charged a credit card in the amount of $94 is under Dustin on Dustin McKinney on December 13th, 2018 and January 13th, 2019 for $94. Under Deborah Matthews, let me see, February 16, 2019 for $94, April 13th, 2019 for $25, May 13th, 2019 for $57. Has that been approved to be charged on the city credit card? Is there another route for those bills to be paid? Things are not being followed.
Why is that getting paid this way?
The only thing I know on the ones, and I didn't get all your dates down right there, but the ones that were in the March area before we hired Shauna, the only thing I know, because we were in here, was trying to get our bills paid because we couldn't write checks, we had no city clerk. So that is how some of those were handled whenever we were left to try to figure it out on our own.
But the accountants were here, they were paying it.
They were not here at that time.
By the way, $94 is for 3 lines. We pay 3 lines at Cricket each month for $94. That's 3 phone lines.
Also, we did have a clerk in here in January, February, March, and I'm not sure, I can't remember.
That's why I don't understand is why the fuel was shut off in February, because we did have a clerk in here and we were paying bills, so it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but I'm telling you, that's what was going on.
I came in one day and I saw Shauna working on some phones with Cricket. She had discovered how she discovered it was the chief had brought her a phone that he had told us that we could turn off. I'm not certain, I would have to go back through our notes, but I believe for some reason it was like December maybe, if you all remember, that he told us he didn't need his phone anymore, and we all agreed that it would be shut off. He had just brought his phone into the office, that was in May, I believe, May or June, I guess.
Probably, because he hadn't been using
And he
it.
brought it into her and told her that she would need to go ahead and get it shut off, that it was supposed to have already been shut off, but it hadn't been. And she did get that one shut off, along with the one that had never been shut off that belonged to Jackie that previously worked here. So she got those taken care of. But she also had worked on several things that had not been taken care of. I think it's pretty safe to say there was probably several thousand paid out in insurances that had not been taken care of, being shut off with people that were no longer working here all the way back to December, when we did have a clerk. Gap insurance, regular medical insurance, and she was working on getting that cleaned up too, because she had discovered that, along with these phones that had never been shut off.
Now, it was part of Jackie's resignation agreement that he was allowed to keep his phone.
Yes.
But not his plan.
Right.
But we weren't paying for it.
Well, we was still paying for it, it never got shut off.
No,
so-
but
But that
it
was
wasn't
the
supposed to be in that way.
Right, and that's what I had explained to her, was that was supposed to be shut off. He did keep his phone. Dustin was trying to.
Cause it was an
Just
inexpensive phone, yeah.
And then, is there still a line that we're paying for?
I don't know whose it is, and the thing is, I've went to the store and I've called, there's not a way to shut it off unless we just stop paying it.
Is it the chief's phone?
I don't know whose number it is, because nobody knows my numbers.
Does it have the phone number? Does it have the phone number?
Well, remember that day you were gonna bring me a thing to plug it in so we could find the phone number?
To charge.
To charge it so we could look and see.
Okay, so the
phone
statement's
number.
not giving you a phone number that we're paying for, is what I'm saying. If we're
No.
paying for a phone, surely it says somewhere on there
Well,
what that
it's
phone
just
number is.
automatically paid through the credit card.
My suggestion
You have
is
to-
Shut
shut them all off. Just shut them all off.
Completely terminate the plan.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, just shut them off.
Do we need a motion for that? Motion to.
It's not on your agenda.
I've also, I've seen numerous charges to Amazon. These charges have been under McKinney, Deborah Matthews. On December 4th, 2018, there's a charge for $23.99. On December 28th, 2018, there's a charge for $97.09. On December 28th, 2018, there's a charge for $57.95. And those are all through McKinney, Dustin McKinney. For Deborah Matthews, February 6, 2019, there's a charge for $6.73. February 6, 2019, there's a charge for $97.69. Now, a lot of these are cleaning products and bottled water and things like this. Why are we going through Amazon and not going to our local store to purchase these items? Who approved these purchases? And what is the purpose of the order for Amazon? We shouldn't be ordering through Amazon. I mean, why is Dustin McKinney's personal Amazon account attached to the city's credit card? Does anybody know why?
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, his credit card is
that's stopped.
with Amazon.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
It's already been done.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Okay.
done.
Basically, if it wasn't for Denise Johnson and Jesse James doing the sunshine request, I would like to know how long this would continue to happen without board approval. I'm wondering how long these unapproved purchases have been going on. I have just got statements that I really dug into from last October to present day. I'm very concerned, very concerned. Mayor Winnick, have you ever authorized any of these charges without board approval?
On any of the.
Anything
Amazon?
that I've spoke of, yes, sir.
It's not necessarily authorize it, but if they need something in the office, if the fire department needs supplies, they go get it. That's how, I mean, it's been that way since I've been here 6 years ago. I think it was even that way when Steve was here. You know, if they needed something, we went and got it.
But we held them accountable when we went for our bills monthly, and that's where the problem comes in there. You guys don't look at your bills.
And we've had that discussion 2 meetings ago, I think, with you on that.
And right here today, you didn't get your bills again, so I don't know how you're gonna motion to pay them today.
Well, as
My
far as I
husband
know.
just ordered on our Amazon account clips for the police department because Dustin wouldn't order clips for his own radios.
He didn't have a card. He shut his card off. I have the only active card in the city at this point.
Over
When was
3
the card
weeks
shut
ago,
off?
he had that card, and he wouldn't do them.
Yeah, and see, I knew nothing about those clips until yesterday
3 months ago, my husband's vest expired.
see, and
He had a card then.
I haven't heard that. That's not been brought to me. That's not been brought to the board that I'm aware of.
So
I
said
had
he
not heard that. So if that's an issue, then he should, if the way that works, if it goes to Dustin and he can't get it resolved, then he comes to the board. I'm sorry, his vest is expired. We'll take care of it as fast as we can now that I know it is.
Dustin has not brought it to the board.
It has not been brought to our attention one time.
How long's it been
Used to be an
expired?
ongoing issue.
How long's it been
3
expired?
months.
It expired on May the 1st.
May first.
So what gives justification for Dustin McKinney to link a city credit card to his personal Amazon account? That is extremely reckless. And no one knows why. That's the problem. No one knows why. No one can get answers. Or, you know, when you're elected to be in a position, people want to make phone calls and be able to speak to people that what we have on our minds, or if there's issues within the city that we would like resolved, no one calls back or no one answers the phone. That's a problem. That's a huge problem.
I would like to address that. I have been here every day since September. I have not missed, and I have answered every single call that has come through here that I have heard. I have been in my office. I have worked all that I can, and to hear that there is no one ever answering the phones is wrong, because I have answered them multiple times, and I have been told off multiple times for things that are out of my control, but I at least will take a message and I will forward it on.
I believe I spoke to you about the potholes, and you told me you keep giving messages And you apologized to me because I wasn't getting return calls.
And
Yeah.
I did fix potholes, I think it was in May.
It took 2.5 months.
Yes. We had,
Two
I don't
and a half
know, we got
months
one of
from
the street guys.
from my first phone call. And I will say that I did speak to Cindy, and Cindy did tell me that she passed it on numerous times.
Yeah, and we had a street guy, and if it wasn't getting handled with him, I was not aware of that issue, because that's how, that you would leave a message, it would go to them, same with the graveyard stuff. It went to a graveyard person, if they didn't handle it, and I didn't know it, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't address you with it.
So there's just overall lack of communication everywhere.
For the past 6 months, it's been a bad deal, because we had, like I said, shorthand in the office, there was nobody there, we were doing the best we could to make it work.
More spending that, you know, was brought up in the last meeting had concern with the overtime and just, you know, implementing a time clock. Is that working?
We just got it, and we're.
How long have you had it?
How long have you had it? When was it received?
We just got it this week, didn't we?
Last week.
Was it last
The
week?
end of last week.
Yeah, we just
I was
got
in
it.
here last Monday or Tuesday.
Has it been implemented at all yet?
No.
So who's responsible for implementing that? And no one knows? Or-
Well, we have to get it installed, we have to get it put up,
Who would
which we
install
have to we'll have to hire someone since we don't have a maintenance person now. So that's something, like everything with the city, has to go out for bid, unless one of you all can do it.
you know, this community, the Forest Park I live, we have a lot of elderly back there. And, I'm kind of speaking for them because there's just, money going out and there's not a lot to show here. I hear about all these improvements in Leadington and I'm not seeing them. So I'm not happy I gotta pay for trash every month, and I'm not, you know, we don't have street lights back there, but all this fraud, I mean, this spending, and no one knows why, is a problem. And we just would like, for those of you that have been elected, when you've been elected in, get it together and show us that you care. This is why you guys come here. I mean, I personally feel like at times, and this is my personal, this is a payday. Well, I can just get my gas for this and this. I mean, we just want receipts, everything good in the books, but it's always an excuse, and the excuses have got to go. Why did it take so long to get a city clerk?
Nobody wants to work for us.
I mean, I wouldn't want to either.
mean,
I wouldn't want to
they
walk
keep
in this
nobody
door
there
and work
and,
here.
Amount of
I
money they
mean-
get paid, they don't wanna work here.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to work here either.
It's,
I mean, it's a mess. I mean,
Well, let me tell you this. I've read the policy, and the board can hire in an emergency situation. Dustin hired her in an emergency situation.
let me speak on that. That was a scheduled meeting. I had 2 show up, 1 did not. We were in an emergency situation, so yes, at that point I did, but that was a scheduled interview with all the board. So
Saying it's an emergency after you waited 2 months.
we didn't have any applications.
We didn't have any
Nobody was
Well, you
applying,
go back to
so
the
you
board.
can't just pull somebody off the street and say,
No,
hey,
my
come
friend
here.
actually applied too.
Yeah.
See,
She's
I
never advertised.
She applied 3
I'm
times.
seeing, there's a pattern here, and it's who's buddies with buddies, and that's not gonna work, and that's, it's gonna fail.
I
It's
didn't
not
know
gonna work.
anybody. When I was hired, I did not know anybody,
You had no clue, you didn't know anybody in this place? Not one person?
not one person.
You know,
You
it's-
had no other applicants.
I believe we did.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
gonna
don't-
sit here and lie to nobody.
We did have applicants.
Yes, we did.
because
I know.
there was-
But
She's my
did
friend.
anybody on the board?
Several times,
We-
we talked about it and said, what are we gonna do? We gotta get a meeting together to get somebody hired. We've gotta get a meeting together to get somebody hired.
2 months?
And when it didn't happen, I did what I had to do to get somebody in the office. I didn't know her, I didn't know anybody. I just knew that we had somebody coming in, and I called all the board to set it up, and everybody was fine.
It
That's
was,
right.
it
Does
worked
everybody
out.
agree with that?
Does everybody agree that I called? Debbie
Yes.
Matthews was working.
Yeah, he called at 1 o'clock for a 4 o'clock meeting, and she couldn't make it, I think. I
No,
couldn't
no,
make
no,
it.
no, no.
Is
This
that
was
what you're talking
no, this was not a 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, this was a day ahead of time.
about?
And I called, yes, because it was that's where we was at, so I called all the board, and it was gonna be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And it may have been, but still, I don't have an issue that she she was hired to work on, so that's not
I
an
don't think
issue at
that's
all.
the issue at all. I just think,
The board got bypassed.
You know, we
because
haven't had a
of-
maintenance guy
Yeah.
for about a month.
How did the board get bypassed?
I've asked many questions about purchases and no one knows. No one knows who approved them. No one can give me an answer to many things. And these receipts, where are they? I mean, we're talking months. That's a concern. I got a feeling they're not to be found. So that's the problem that keeps arising here. And I'm just going from a bank statement that or a credit card statement that I'm looking at from October to present. I can only imagine what's beyond that. I haven't looked at those yet. But I'm just saying it's very for any taxpayer to sit and think, what is going on? There's stuff around town not being done, but there's money just being spent everywhere. And the food purchases, need to, I understand if it's something for the city with volunteers and stuff like that, if it's approved, that everybody agrees on, that's fine. But so far, I'm not seeing a lot of board members that are approving of much of anything. It's just stuff being spent and.
I can tell you that these food charges, this board, except for the person that made the charges, was not aware of it and did not approve it. I can tell you that. My assumption of this whole time was our daily allowance is $25. I did confirm it with Powers. Anything over $25, I can't tell you because I didn't do it. And she hasn't done it. She hasn't done it. I did check some receipts that come in by Powers on his last trip, and he did stay under his $25 allowance.
He stayed with his dad to save you guys money, because he knew you guys are so far over budget.
Well, and I didn't know that, but I appreciate it. But, I mean, if I didn't make those charges, I have not approved those charges, this board has not approved those charges, but I can promise you, we are gonna look at it and try to get you some answers, Kathy.
I appreciate it because I've got some people that are asking the same questions. Like I said back there, we like streetlights, but I don't see that coming anytime soon. But there was some that I've heard went up somewhere else, but we can't get them back here. So that's all. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Trash pickup. Are we going to have that anytime soon? Is that going to be something that we can, the city's going to provide, or
That's
is that
something
off
that I've said many times I'd love to bring back. I have pushed to try to get that back, but we gotta have a stable street guy to get it done. And that's.
So, we just got a clerk, we need a stable street guy. We've got credit card turned off or what's fuel cards off or all that. There's a lot of instability here. And we need to get things back on track because it's scaring the residents of this city.
Sorry.
Can't make a comment. I've been watching this online. I think we got quite a few good people on the board that's been doing some good things. Mayor's taking on extra duties. Chief of police is taking on extra duties. It's not their fault that everything was set into play to begin with that you could do things. The mayor has been approved to spend up to $1,000 without board approval.
That's not
500.
That's not true.
It's 500.
That was approved
That
in a
is the
meeting.
credit
That is
limit
not
on
true.
that card.
That was
not,
approved in a meeting here a while back. I think if you go through the notes, you can look that up.
that's what the credit limit was.
So anyway, we started all this mess when we started dismantling the city, and that's systematically been what's going on. A lot of good people have been losing their jobs for no good reason. Everything started breaking down and falling apart. Everybody else is having to pick up the slack. It's in mass chaos because nobody knows what to do, because you got to train people out the door, and you got a bunch of people that don't know what's going on, trying to fix everything, and it's just all screwed up. So here's the thing. Don't be blaming the chief for having to go and buy some supplies through Amazon. Yes, I agree, it probably should be done locally, that's smarter, but you have to have something in play. Why are these cards in all these individual names? They have to have access to go to training, these fire departments, these police departments. You can't expect them to pay that out of their pocket. They're already not making that much anyway. Why would you think that's right as citizens? So don't be slamming on all these guys for doing what they're trying to do. Your mayor shouldn't be out there filling in freaking potholes. That's pathetic. So we need to get some policies established. That way you can hold people accountable. If there's no policies dead set and established, how can you hold everybody accountable?
It's the past year has been very big struggle for the city. Very big struggle for the city. Trying to keep things moving in the right direction I've been in almost 6 years now, and it's ran great. The past year, we've taken a hit and tried to get it straightened back out, and it just seems like it's one right after the next. I think everybody has stepped up the employees have stepped up when they can to do what they can do. I mean, we've got, like I said, we had a firefighter helping us out pick up trash. You know, it's, everybody's, you gotta get the finances back in order, and I've said it to the board, I've said it to Jesse, and I'll say it in a meeting again. If somebody sees something and they've got a question with it, I would appreciate it to come to me. Everybody knows exactly where I live, and let's talk about it and try to figure it out instead of throwing very vague information in different directions.
This information that I'm presenting is not vague.
I'm saying there's a lot of vague
Yeah.
information.
Ding the mayor for taking the fire guys out, for going and doing something that's not even in the realm of what they should be doing.
And I asked what the purpose was. I asked a question. He never told me that he took the fire guys out.
But that's what's happening. A lot
Okay,
of this stuff's
but
getting out there without.
I
people
asked
actually
why. I
knowing
just
what's going
I just
on.
wanted a reason why this money was spent. I asked a question. He never told me it was to take the fire department guys out. Never once. I just asked to justify it.
Yeah, I just told you that though.
Yeah, you did. You just.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I asked for justification, and that's fine, but there's so many other charges that aren't even spoke of here that you can't clarify, you have no receipts for, so that's where the issue lies.
They're gonna have to look into them.
There are receipts.
Okay.
Everything has got receipts. Like I said, we're having problems finding files because we've had so many different people running through here, moving files, doing system, putting stuff in their own system that we're trying to figure out. That's where a lot of your receipt issues are coming in. That's where a lot of your file information is coming in. That's what we're trying to work on. Shauna's been doing all she can between the sunshine requests and everything else to try to figure out where all this stuff's at.
Do you think there's a problem with people requesting information?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I
Because I feel like it's not liked, you know, and I just, you know, when we want stuff back there and, you know, like like the lights and then the trash, and then I see all this other spending, Amazon, I think that Amazon purchase after purchase, and he's like, we just wanna know, what is that for? What's the purpose of buying those things through Amazon when you got Big Lots over here? You know, things like that. Use your business within our city.
Well, I'll go ahead and speak up for some of those Amazon purchases, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry. But some of the things that were purchased for the fire department last year that were approved by the board cannot be bought at Big Lots.
This was not last year, this was recently.
Well,
What
when
if you hear the word Amazon, everybody starts freaking out thinking that they're doing something personal?
I've sat down with Jesse and told him before, I think what he's doing is great. It's not a bad thing. But I think when you get information, sometimes you need to come to the person or come, at least try to have a conversation about what it is. And then when you put this out there, you at least got something that backs with it.
And that's the reason why I passed, Dustin. I want to see the receipts.
On the Amazon account itself, who's paying for it? Because those charges can add up to Dustin paying for it with the city's credit card for that Amazon Prime business account.
As far as his personal charge, is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about the Amazon Prime account itself.
Yes,
Because it adds up each month. If you add it up over 12 months, it adds up. There's a charge each month on either one of your 3 credit cards to the charge itself being an Amazon Prime business account.
Yes,
Because I have one.
I don't.
And
I'm
I
not
add it
familiar
up.
with Amazon Prime, but and what I can tell
So
you is
someone's paying for the Amazon Prime business account out of your 3 credit cards.
And see, you're saying you don't know, but that's what I'm saying. His account.
So he's got his account, he's buying
is
his
linked
stuff for his
to
family
the city's
and
credit
for the
card.
city.
No, none of you individuals should have a personal account leaked to the city's credit card. That's
damn
what
good
we're
scam.
saying. That's not okay. And everything may be on the up and up with it, but I'm just saying, that's not okay.
well, what I don't know. Like I said, I can research it. I'll ask. I'll find out what I can, and I promise I'll get back with you. What I can tell you is his card that's tied to that has been cut off and canceled, and he no longer has it.
I know what purchases have already been made, and
Well, I
Amazon,
understand.
since it's his personal account, you can't get receipts verifying everything that was purchased because it's his personal account. You see, you can't call and say, I need these purchases because it's on his. So that kind of locked other people out of getting the proper information. So he needs to get on and get the receipts and turn them in.
I have them.
You have them?
I do.
Every one of them?
I haven't looked all the way through, but the ones I started, yeah.
For last month's bills.
Yeah, that's already,
That's what you got.
that's taken care of. I think everything he's ever gotten for here off of Amazon, he's given me a receipt for. And I've looked at it, water, cleaning supplies, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, but how many people are supposed to be in this building at all times? Is there supposed to be two? Or can there be one, or?
Since we put that wall up, one is usually fine to where people can't just be walking in and out. Before, we always tried to keep an officer in here, somebody in here, more than one person.
Okay, I guess because I know that the only reason he bought supplies then, because it was him and Cindy here, when they didn't have anybody else. And now that that's changed, of course, we're going to go across the street and get everything we can over there.
So we can't wait till a later day to buy water?
Well, I mean, they waited, 2 months and didn't have anybody, so.
Why are we having such a personnel issue anyway? Since November, how many personnel have we been through? That kind of seems to be the problem, that we don't have anybody that's been trained and got rid of the people that knew what they were doing. I'd like to know why they got rid of.
There's elderly people calling here wanting the city hall and getting the police station.
Personnel's been through here.
Hey,
Can't help you, sorry, nobody's here.
You've got some really good points. What is your name?
I'm Bobby Johnson.
Bobby Johnson. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Bobby, our city clerk,
We're not gonna discuss personnel, why they left.
she retired. Is it, she
What,
retired?
Debbie Eggers retired.
Yeah, Debbie Eggers
Yes,
retired.
trained
And
after
it
that,
has
was
been,
training under her.
it has
Somebody
been
trained
tough.
after her, and that person was removed for why?
We're not gonna talk
I
about that.
can't talk about that.
Because you have nothing to talk about.
No, it's on advice of council. They're not gonna discuss reasons for removal of anybody, as an employee.
But since our longtime city clerk retired, it has been a struggle, and we're working on it.
The people of the city just wanna have confidence in who they voted in, who they elected in. We just wanna have confidence that the money's being spent right. When we hear there's 42,000, that's a little bit nerve-wracking for our small town. So we just want answers, and if you can give us those answers, that'd be great.
Well, and like I said before, on the budget stuff, it's in black and white what's going on with a lot of it right now. And that sales tax is down, about 14,000, the utility taxes are down almost 17,100. With the states changing and the police and the way the courts are handled, the fines, everything is down, so it comes up short. It's not, I've got it all right in front of me and would be glad to sit down with you, we can go over it together.
Do we have a court anymore? Or has that been dismantled?
No, we have court once a month. So,
So are we stopping the overtime with is there a reason for the
Let me
overtime?
just try to refocus this. We have on the agenda, Kathy Mannion, if I pronounce that right. To address the board on credit card statements. We're going far afield of what's on the agenda. I think you've had a thorough discussion of credit card statements. Unless you want to talk more about that particular issue, I think it's time to move on to another topic.
like I said, I would gladly meet with you. You name the time, whenever you wanna meet, and bring it to me. If you don't like, if I can't answer what you want, then I'll try to get all the answers I can.
How about I just come to the next meeting and you have receipts in hand and I'll be good?
We'll be
How about
digging.
that?
We'll be.
You have, what I
digging
brought
the best
up,
we
you
can.
have receipts in hand and I'm done.
Like I said, we'll be digging, so
Okay.
we'll try to find what we can for you.
Alright.
Alright. Next up is the update from Tommy Hill regarding the fire department.
Oh, yeah, so Alderman Gary McKinney asked me for updates on just the overall status of the fire department, and hopefully, as long as everything is normal, hopefully I can do this every month. We'll see how everything goes. So what I went through and did, as a department, we wanted to know, and I figured that it'd be good information to present in a meeting. So I went through and totaled up how many man hours we put in 2018, so that's from the beginning of 2018 till the end of it. I also went through and added up for the last pay period, which is December of 2018 until May 31st. Then I went through and totaled June's. So these are all different, but what I want to explain too is that these are just hours from the time that the call went out, so the time from the tone hit the radio up until we said that we were in service. So if we were in Potosi, whenever we said that we were in service and released, we still have a 30-40 minute ride back. We still have to clean air packs whenever we get back. Fire hose, this doesn't count training hours, which would make these numbers look minuscule. I haven't gotten to those yet. This doesn't count PR events, this doesn't count anything like that. Anything extra that we do, this is just for calls only. So in 2018, we had a total of 930 hours and 43 minutes. And how I did this was, like I said, from the page time to the in-service time, and then multiplied it by how many people were on that call in particular. So I had 930 hours and 43 minutes in 2018 across 243 calls for service, and we averaged 3 hours, 58 minutes, and 39 seconds for every call. The first pay period of this year, so like I said, it's from December of 2018 to May 31st. We had 658 hours and 33 minutes across 129 calls for service. We averaged 5 hours, 6 minutes, 18 seconds on every call. The totals for June of this year were 58 hours and 8 minutes across 26 calls for service. We averaged 2 hours, 14 minutes, and 9 seconds for every call. So, is there any questions on that at all?
Tommy, from December 18th to May 31st, 658 hours, is that right?
Yes, sir. Let me check. Yes, 658 hours, 33 minutes.
Okay, and how many firefighters do you average?
Currently we have 16, and I would say that's pretty good average that we keep on our roster.
Okay, no, so out of the 16, the 658 hours, that's every hour of every firefighter?
That was present on each call. Okay. So this is a per call breakdown.
Okay.
So some we might have 2 people respond, and some calls we had 10 people respond. So it varies.
It's a good average of 3 to 6 though.
Yeah,
Most
3 to
of the
6.
time.
Okay.
Time of day varies a lot in that.
And there were
daytime really is bad because most people work the day. So.
And those calls range from anywhere from 5 minutes. If there was 5 people that showed up and we had a minute on a call, then it'd be 5 minutes for that call. Up until I had one that was 43 hours that was spent on one call. So we also went through, what was that, last weekend or 2 weekends ago? We went through and inventoried all of our gear. Gary and Cassie came up while we were in the middle of it and took a look around, and I gave them an update on it. We finished everything. I think all that we're lacking, you guys have an inventory list in here. I think all that we're lacking on that is 3 pairs of boots, and they're all in service. So the reason that we went through the gear is to hopefully pursue for more this year. We needed it for grant information. It's good information to have on the books anyways. Per NFPA 1851, NFPA is basically our OSHA. They set rules and regulations for fire departments to follow. If anybody gets injured, you're held to that standard. They are not necessarily legal. In court, they will be held up. So per NFPA 1851 is the standard code. Turnout gear is to be worn up until the garment is destroyed or it has 10 years of service. And that 10 years of service comes from the manufacture date that is written inside of, everything has it, Nomex, gloves, pants, coat, everything has it. They're held to 10 years to the month that it was manufactured. After that, no matter what shape it's in, it could still be pristine, hanging in a showcase, it's out of service. So this is what we have in service, in storage. This does not, I didn't add up what our guys are wearing currently. So in service, in storage, there's 3 coats. These are all varying sizes. We have 3 turnout coats, 2 pairs of pants, 8 pairs of gloves, 3 pairs of boots, and 1 helmet. So, I think currently we're kind of in a state where we will still accept applications, but I don't know that we can hire anybody right now. We have 16 members currently, and I don't expect that number to change until we either have more gear or somebody comes along that can come try on gear before they get to the application process.
Tommy, did you by chance make a list of what's gonna be expiring?
Yeah, it's all.
Do you know what's coming?
So, on our inventory list, just glancing at the first page here, you have everything wrote off to the side. It's in order by brand. And then it has pants, it has a serial number that is dedicated to that item. Then off to the side, it says in service or out of service, then it has a manufacture date. So if it is in service, then the manufacture date is what to go off of for when it will be out of service. So, and they all vary, so no, I don't have those numbers. I can't tell you how long it'll be before, you know, it might be a year, it could be 9 years. We didn't look into that because it's all on that sheet.
Okay, so now on your budget, request, we already know that we're probably gonna have to trim a little bit, based on our numbers. So, have you taken into consideration what's gonna be expiring on the things that you're asking for?
Absolutely.
I mean, the turnout gear, would you say 3,500 is?
It was somewhere around 3,300 a set, and that varies.
Okay.
And, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just the turnout gear I know is expensive, so I don't want us to get about December and we need 5 sets, and it's gonna be like, oh gosh, what are we gonna do? So,
So I actually brought in Josh Hemmendinger. He is with the Elbrock Company, which is fire equipment distributor. He's also a Park Hills firefighter. So we've been working with him. We worked with him to get the number for the budget that was on at the beginning of this fiscal year, which was the 3,300. That was for a grant purpose. He's here to speak about other options for purchasing gear. So, Josh?
Thank you, Tommy. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Tommy's correct on that NFP 1851. You can have literally brand new turnout gear in a bag, never gets issued at 10 years. If somebody gets injured, they can come back and hold the city accountable in court, and most of them usually win that way. So, not trying to scare you, but it is something that he has to take into consideration. He's approached me, we've done several different quotes, designed up several different sets of gear. I believe last year that number he gave you in the 3,300 range was for the AFG grant, which he is probably going to apply for again this year, and I'll give him an updated quote. But the problem with that grant is this year alone, over 8,000 fire departments applied for that money. It's hard to get your hands on that money. They're giving out less and less. More and more people are turning to grants for that money. So another option, and you should have this in your packet, is community leasing partners. Captain Hill did tell me you guys may have used that company in the past for some city equipment purchases. We did some looking into the bids and the quotes, and I've come up with a more generic number of $2,750 per man, which would include the coat, pant, helmet, Nomex hood, gloves, and boots. And that is the figure that community put those basically two options for you together. They're just a generic option. At this point, just to give you some idea what we're looking at, but we wanted to bring it to the table to you guys. You can get it at today's price, and they can do up to a 5-year payment term on that for you. One of the things that Blake is really good with at community is you can call them up, say I need 10 sets of turnout gear today, I've got $2,000, but starting next year we can start making payments. He will work with you guys in your budget issues to kind of find a way to make it work. You can do big down payments, small down payments, they're very, very flexible. So when you guys get things ready, and this is kind of something you do want to look at, let me know. We can get Blake on the phone with you guys, and he'll go back and forth as much as we need to. I might even be able to get it down to about $2,500 a man. I know you guys are stretching your dollars just like everybody else is. We do the same thing in Park Hills and every other department I work with. The biggest problem is not enough money to go around. The stuff's expensive, it's gonna get torn up. The other kicker on the gear, Tommy hinted at, it's good for 10 years or unless it gets destroyed. In a house fire, obviously there's heat, there's broken components of a building, glass, metal rods. They can tear a coat up, be day one they're in it, and flash over and get torn. that coat's worthless at that point. And it sucks for the city, cause there goes $800-900 for a coat, but the goal is to keep these guys alive, get them home to their families at the end of the day. The inspection process on the turnout gear, I'll elaborate a little bit on this, is every so often, your fire officer should be going through every piece of turnout gear that their men wear. You take the coat apart, you look at the liner, there's 3 components to a coat and a pant. There's your outer shell, which is usually abrasion resistant. There's your moisture barrier to prevent from steam and water burns. And then you've got your thermal liner on the inside. If that moisture barrier won't hold water, just kind of fill it up and kind of hold it a little bit, water's dripping through it, that coat per NFPA 1851 is deemed worthless. That fabric will turn brittle over time and it will give out. If the guy goes back in and has a rough fire, a lot of steam in there, he's gonna get burned. Usually it's not pretty, they end up in the hospital for 3-6 months if they're not dead. So these are all concerns that he wanted me to kind of try and help him to find a better number for you guys as far as getting more gear. We can do it 3 sets of gear at a time, we can do the whole department at a time, whatever, you know, the city needs. But he's gonna try for that grant, but it'll be November when he applies, be a minimum of June next year before he even gets an answer. So in the interim, you've got your inventory list, and I don't know those numbers. I know he's got some stuff that's getting to a point where it needs to be replaced. You're another year down the road before anything gets done, so he's asked me to bring the community option to you guys for consideration in the future. So, other than that, I really don't have much more than that. You know, open it up to questions if you guys have anything on the process or the turnout gear, or how it works.
The community leasing partners, is that who we worked with the Leadington Community Development? Do you remember that? Anybody remember that? For the purchase of the patrol cars?
I believe it is.
I think that's the same company.
I remember seeing it in the financial reports.
We've used them all over eastern Missouri. The Mellebrock company's out of Wentzville is where the office is, but we represent East Africa, Missouri. So many communities use it. Some guys they'll have 80% of it down, they just need help with a little bit. Some guys are, I've got $1,500 until next year, but I've gotta get this piece of equipment. It's good for trucks, turnout gear, air packs, different programs like that. But they'll give you a budget set in stone. This is your down payment, this is going to be your payment for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They'll do monthly, they'll do annually, whatever fits your budget. So they try and help you guys out as much as they can, keep low interest rates. So.
And also, correct me stop me if I'm wrong, but I believe Josh had told me, and I've heard about fire departments doing this as well, if you work off this kind of a system, if this is what we want to pursue, in the event that it is, we can sit down, go over, crunch some numbers, figure out what we want to pay and how many years we want to extend this out for. So say if we do a grant this year, in 10 years, we got to get another grant. 10 years is a long way down the road, but in 10 years, we have to get another grant. All of the gear that we purchased is done, so we have to do it over again. On this, like I said, we'd have to crunch some numbers and figure out what works best, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But on this, can we purchase a certain amount of gear every year and keep a cycle rolling of sorts?
Yes.
Okay.
Community will work in any fashion. A lot of departments will buy 15-20% of their active members new turnout gear every year. A lot of the bigger departments that run a lot of fires, which Leadington does run more structural fires than they do other calls, they're gonna go through gear faster. The fire by nature is going to disassemble the molecular level of those fabrics. So these guys are buying, let's say you've got, for number 10 members on your fire department, they're gonna go buy 2 or 3 sets every single year. But they only buy a few every year, so there's never that 10-year crunch for anybody. If you get a new guy that doesn't fit your surplus, maybe you gotta buy a 4th set that year. Maybe somebody joins the department 3 years in, but he can get a hand-me-down from somebody else. They're always buying a few every year, so you don't get hit with, I got 16 members under my department, and by the end of next year, 15 need new gear, just because of manufacturing date. That hurts. It gets painful. So I don't know exactly how many you guys need right now, but we have a lot of places that do an annual buying program. I'm working with Park Hills right now. They're gonna buy 3 or 4 sets this year, with the goal of next year buying another 3 or 4 sets, just to try and keep some stuff coming in.
Can I ask on this, what all, I mean, is that boots, helmet, gloves,
That's
when it says
Yes,
turnout
ma'am,
gear?
that quote was.
So that's everything,
An estimate of $27.50 per man,
okay.
$2,750. That was a pair of leather boots, leather gloves, the hard shell helmet, the Nomex hood that they have to wear over their neck, and the coat and the pant. So everything short of an air pack that these guys need to go fight a fire, that would be the full outfit. And I think with a little tweaking, a little bit more time with, the officers, we can probably get that down closer to 2,500 a man. So it's gonna take a little creativity, but.
About 30 more minutes, we'll be down to 1,900.
25's gonna be tough. I'm at 2666 in my numbers. I had Blake use 2750 for the worksheet that you have in your hand, just for a ballpark. Every set of turnout gear is customized for the department. Some guys need different equipment, some guys need rescue belts, some guys don't. If you have ladder work, ladder trucks, you need different equipment for that on your gear. So we customize every set to the department. One thing that Zach and Chief and Tommy have been very adamant about is the three main materials in your coat and pant. They wanted it breathable and safe and about as good as they could get within the budget that they gave me. And this set that we built for them right now in our current spec is actually based off St. Louis City. We've tweaked a lot of the smaller add-on options they added just to get them down to a more basic set, but as far as the 3 layers of fabric that protect them while they're inside a burning building, it's based on what St. Louis has been using for 3 years. We sell them, I don't even know how many sets a year, probably 20 to 100. They love it. They're doing real good with it. They've had guys literally get flashed over, walk out in flames, and they walk away alive. So they're not feeling good when they come out, but they're alive and able to go home. And that's what these guys are worried about with their members on their department is get everybody home safely. You can't control everything, but let's get some good protective equipment for them. So,
Is there anybody that offers a buyback program for, you said someone can even sit in the closet and not even use? Is there any companies that will like redo that stuff that we can make contact with to save us money selling?
there's a
bags?
couple out there that will buy old turnout gear. They make wallets and stuff. Most of them just take donations. There might be a few that might pay a few bucks for it, but when it hits 10 years in the fire service, it's worthless.
So there's nothing, probably, any
Not
companies that'll do that?
If they would start maybe a junior program for teenagers and Boy Scouts that wanna get in, they're not allowed to do the structural firefighting, but they can have the gear on, at least be present at certain calls
I
and have
agree they
something.
need it,
But
and it needs to be rotated out, but the fact is that we can save money, because it is quite expensive to rotate each year. If there's some kind of buyback program or something we can get into
there's not. The other problem is it's given the nature of the business, once it's sold to somebody, nobody really wants to buy it because it's been technically used even if it's in your storage closet. It's tough to say, hey, I'll just take that coat and I trust it and don't know it. Sometimes some departments will buy used gear, but most of the time you're gonna get about $20 to $40 a piece, which doesn't cover $2,800, so. And it's just in such dire need, they'll take anything they can get. So.
All right.
Tommy, in your, you said you had 16 men?
Currently.
Ideally, what is the amount of men that you would?
About, 15 to 20, we max out at 20.
Okay.
So, yeah, 15's pushing it, so we're close.
Right now, the
but-
city said, and this is coming up what, Debbie Eggers always told me, that the work comp only covers 20. So, I would love to increase that by about 5. Cause like I said a while ago, daytime calls sucks, because you get 1 or 2. And I've been John Wayne. It's not fun. So, especially you get a motor vehicle accident on the highway and you're the only one there, not a whole lot you can do with one person.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people probably don't know this. You live in town here, but most of these guys.
I'm the only fireman that lives in town.
Okay, so he's the only one that lives here in Leadington. The rest of these guys live other places and come here and volunteer for us. And I appreciate it, and we got the opportunity to come and visit, and I like what you're doing, so thank you.
Did you guys have any more questions on the leasing or?
What does the interest rate usually run on that?
2 to 5% depending. They were established after the economy crashed in 2008, if I remember right. And Blake's thing is he's always very adamant about trying to keep the rates as low as possible. He understands his communities, his tax dollars at work, and trying to get the most bang for your money. They do have to charge some, obviously, to cover their costs, and if you need him to come speak too, he's in Manhattan, Kansas, he'd be more than happy to come in for a meeting if you guys get to the point where you think it's a good option for you. Let me know and I can have him come in and speak to you directly so you can ask him any more questions on it.
Okay, appreciate the information.
Well,
Does anybody have any questions on the community leasing program? All right. Airpack grant payment. Excuse me.
Yeah, I just wanted to,
We have, well, we don't have them, they are in the county. They're in Wolf Creek's firehouse right now.
All right.
We don't have them yet.
And that's the grant that we approved, I think, last November.
Yes.
Yes.
was there something on the agenda as far as budget? Okay, I just wanna make sure. Okay.
Yep. So I think that's the check that we cut today, will get signed, so you guys have it, and then get your equipment for your training.
We was kinda hoping to have them tonight so we could bring one and show you.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it'll be here next month.
Next is the discussion on budget for the fire department.
So, and if you don't wanna get into it, that's fine, I don't know where you guys are at, so has the budget been established, rock solid for this year?
Right now,
All on up.
we have to amend because we're still running last year's budget.
Okay, so you're still planning to amend?
Yes.
Okay, good, alright, that was one of my big questions, so, and then another, rather a concern that I had, we don't have our own budget line on any of the financial reports. And we don't currently have anything that states that the fire department has X amount of money, the fire department had X amount of call revenue, the fire department had X amount of, anything at all. There's no breakdown whatsoever, and all I wanted to do is ask that we have that.
When we're, I think you brought that up, we talked about that once before, and I mentioned it when we get ready to start on the budget, because we have to break out the court this year also. So when we start breaking everybody out, we'll be able to put whose is where, and that way you'll have an idea throughout the year moving forward. So that's kind of where that one's at.
Dustin, I know in the past, there's been, we can bill for car wrecks, we can bill for vehicle fires, hazmat bills. There's never been, I know of 3 bills now that have been there outstanding. I don't know whether we ever got payment on them. I know Shauna don't know, she probably has no idea.
Every
She has
bill
no
that I
idea
have,
that they're even-
No, it's older ones,
Oh.
correct?
Yeah. One was from last summer. We had a big hazmat bill that we paid, we charged this year that was requested by Caledonia Fire Department for a tanker that was overturned, and then we had a vehicle fire. They've all been sent. I got copies of where they've been faxed to them and sent. But even in the past, talking years past, cause this is my 11th year as fire chief. Like Tommy said, in that line by line, we never know if the income. If I get paid on that, I don't know. That's the part.
And that's, I don't know, cause it'll come in as a payment, so.
It'll come in as a payment. It could just be marked in there someplace that one was paid.
Okay.
Cause I got 3 now that's pretty good size.
You have it collected on, or you don't know if it's collected on?
Don't know if we've ever got them.
Well, if you could get those to Shauna, she can call
Yeah.
the company and verify
happy
that,
to.
just say,
One's-
you know.
I know the one from Caledonia is probably not yet.
And the one for the vehicle fires.
Yeah, the
I have
one-
an update on Caledonia, we got a bill into, that's been sent to the insurance company's attorneys, so it's gonna be a lot.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
rather hefty bill, because I think there was,
We got
we're at
25 grand in
20
submitted.
22
Just on this.
22 departments on the scene.
Yeah,
So that's gonna be,
that'd be a lot.
Okay.
we don't know about that one.
Well, moving forward, whatever we do, the next budget, that'll be one of the things we wanna break out.
Yeah.
Along with the police department, court, everybody's gotta be separate, so,
Cause it would just be, it would be handy to know, okay, this bill came back, we got it, you know?
Okay.
Or do we need to pursue it further, so.
Okay.
Cause always in the past, it's come to City Hall and was never marked anywhere that we got any income in.
Okay.
So, just something to
If you
think
can,
about.
like you said, if you, Cassie said if you can get the copies of it to Shauna, she can pull it up and see, see if it's been brought through yet or not. Okay, discussion on agendas, what we started earlier. I've not found in writing anywhere where we've got a cutoff date. We've always put out there it was a Thursday before, but if you do it Thursday before, it only gives us a certain amount of time. It only gives Shauna essentially the Friday to get it to us, and we like to get them on the weekends. So, I'd like to see something put in where whatever we want on the agenda, or somebody wants something on the agenda, it needs to be shut off like Tuesday or Wednesday to give her the time to get it to us Thursday or Friday, so we have it. Like I've tried to find that, and I cannot find anywhere that it's in any kind of writing, so it's more or less just a policy thing that we need to figure out if we wanna do Tuesdays, Wednesdays of the week before that meeting. If anybody's got any input on it.
No, that's fine, unless it's, you know, like an emergency item, you know, that needs to be brought up.
So is everybody fine with, Shauna, would you have time if we did it the cutoff is Wednesday before? So we would get packets on Thursday evening or Friday?
Yes.
And have the weekend to go over everything? I know it's the way we used to do it, but it just.
So we say Tuesday by 4 p.m.?
Wednesday by 4.
What you said?
I'm fine, whichever Wednesday.
Wednesday works for me.
Wednesday by 4?
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll put that in as one of our policies.
Also, we have always had these delivered to us. Is that something that we're gonna go back to doing?
I don't know, we've always had the police department deliver them.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
come in-
why it stopped.
Just because we're just running behind.
I didn't
You
know
I
it ever
mean, I know
happened
it's an
like that.
excuse,
Oh, yeah,
but-
I've been doing this for many years.
I'd be
And
happy to bring it to you.
the police officer always brought them to our houses.
Yeah, usually on Fridays.
Yeah, so I would say let's do our cutoff at Wednesday, and then if the police department, one of the officers wants to deliver, I'm fine with that, or if we just wanna come pick them up in the office, gives you a chance to come in and see Shauna.
That's the problem with our job, sometimes we don't get
Yeah.
off in time to get here. I mean, Eric? Where's Eric?
Yes, ma'am.
Eric, do you all have a problem bringing our if I say I want to bring my packet to my house on Friday before the meeting, do you all have a problem with that?
No, I mean, it's worked for however many years, 4 years before we stopped doing it, I think.
No,
For the
we just
previous
stopped
boards.
doing it, yeah, I mean, it's been, you know, so.
But that, I'll be honest, also it was brought down from above, just saying.
So you was instructed not to bring them, but with that, it's still an issue that people are adding things at the last minute and you're just not able to get it done. But by establishing a cutoff time at 4, then we should be able to go back to doing it? Okay.
Okay, so Wednesday at 4 o'clock, we'll put in, as the new policy, the cutoff time for things to be put on the agenda. All right. Moving forward. With the resignation of our prosecutor and our judge, we, put out for the bid for a new prosecutor and judge. We had 3 responses.